My beloved child, on February 24th, heaven marked your name. Not by accident, not by coincidence, not by chance. On February 24th, God says the $44 million that was stolen from your ancestors is being returned to your name today. Archangel Michael is the witness. Open this now to claim it. You did not click on this message randomly. You were led here, directed here, positioned here, because something that was buried in silence, something that was hidden behind betrayal, secrecy, and injustice is now rising back to the surface. This is not just about money. This is about restoration. There was a theft in your bloodline, a loss that did not just affect bank accounts but affected destiny, a blessing that was diverted, an inheritance that was intercepted, and for years, the enemy hoped you would never know. But heaven remembers, and Archangel Michael stands as a witness to what was taken. Listen carefully. Before you were born, before your parents were born, before your grandparents even understood what was happening, a door was shut illegally. Documents were manipulated. Agreements were twisted. Wealth was redirected. And what belonged to your lineage was scattered. You grew up feeling like something was missing. Like there was a ceiling over your life. Like no matter how hard you worked, you were always one step behind. That was not laziness. That was not bad luck. That was residue. When ancestral wealth is stolen, the ripple touches generations. It affects opportunities. It affects property. It affects confidence. It affects how others treat your family name. And the enemy thought the case was closed. But on February 24th, heaven reopened the file. Archangel Michael, the defender of divine justice, has stepped forward, not with anger, but with authority, not with chaos, but with clarity, because restoration does not come with noise. It comes with decree. God is saying, the stolen $44 million, the value, the opportunity, the multiplied blessing, is being reassigned. It is being returned to your name. Now understand this. The number is symbolic and literal at the same time. For some, it represents financial restoration. For others, it represents multiplied favor equal to what was lost. For some, it will show up as land, contracts, sudden approvals, canceled debts, unexpected transfers, or legal victories. But for all who receive this, it is divine correction. This is not greed. This is justice. Archangel Michael does not stand as witness over small matters. When he is present, it means heaven as evidence. It means the spiritual court has reviewed the case. It means the delay has expired. You may be wondering why today. Because timing is everything. There are seasons where heaven prepares you quietly, where character is built in private, where patience is tested, where humility is refined. You were not ready before, but now you are. On February 24th, a shift occurs. Paperwork in the unseen realm is being stamped. Assignments are being reversed. Names are being corrected. Your name is being spoken where it was once ignored. And here is what you must understand. When restoration begins, it rarely announces itself loudly. It begins with a nudge, an idea, a phone call, an email, a memory resurfacing, of an action reappearing, a sudden urge to check something you had forgotten. Do not ignore the small signals after today, because Archangel Michael does not only witness the verdict, he also guards the transition. Some people will not understand what is happening in your life after this date, They will say you're just lucky. But luck has nothing to do with generational recovery. This is divine alignment. Something that was held back is being released. Something that was locked is being unlocked. Something that was hidden is being exposed. And yes, someone connected to that old injustice will feel the pressure. Because when God restores, truth surfaces. You are not here to chase the $44 million. You are here to claim what heaven has already reassigned. There is a difference. Chasing is anxiety. Claiming is authority. And today, you are being called to stand in authority. Archangel Michael is not just a symbol in this message. He is present as a witness, which means this restoration is protected, which means sabotage will not succeed, which means intimidation will not work, which means fear must leave. Now take a breath. Feel that shift. Something is moving. This is only the beginning of what is about to unfold in your life. The question is not whether it is happening. The question is, will you receive it? Beloved soul, what is happening right now is deeper than you realize. The moment heaven declared that the $44 million stolen from your ancestors is being returned to your name, something shifted in the unseen realm. You may not feel fireworks. You may not hear thunder. But there has been a legal movement in the spirit. A correction has been authorized. And Archangel Michael stands not as a distant observer, but as a guardian over the enforcement of this decree. You must understand something clearly. Restoration is not random. It follows revelation. The reason this message found you is because awareness activates access. Many people walk past their miracle because they do not recognize it when it speaks. But you paused. You opened this. And that act alone signals readiness. There was a pattern in your bloodline. Promises that almost manifested but slipped away at the last second. Deals that collapsed without explanation. Opportunities that looked certain but dissolved. It felt like your family was always on the edge of breakthrough, yet never fully stepping into it. That pattern was not coincidence. It was connected to what was stolen. When ancestral wealth is diverted, it creates a cycle of limitation. Not just financially, but mentally and spiritually. It plants doubt. It creates survival thinking instead of abundance thinking. It teaches generations to settle. But today, God is interrupting that cycle. On February 24th, a divine interruption is taking place. Archangel Michael is ensuring that what was misdirected is now redirected. But here is the critical part. You must align your mindset with the return. If heaven releases overflow into a mindset trained for lack, the blessing can feel overwhelming instead of empowering. So right now, you are being upgraded internally before the external manifestation appears. Pay attention to your thoughts over the next few days. You may notice unusual confidence rising. You may feel bold ideas surfacing. You may sense doors opening that once felt sealed. Do not dismiss these as imagination. This is alignment. And hear this carefully. Sometimes the $44 million does not arrive as a single transfer. It arrives as access. Access to rooms your ancestors were denied. Access to information they were blocked from. Access to partnerships they were excluded from. Access to legal clarity that was once hidden. This is why Archangel Michael's witness matters. He is associated with divine justice and protection. When he stands over a restoration, it means opposition had been restrained. It means sabotage had been limited. It means interference has boundaries. However, you must not move carelessly. When restoration begins, distractions also increase. Old habits may try to resurface. Doubt may whisper, This is too big to be true. People around you may project their fears onto you, but you are not called to shrink back now. You are called to step forward with discernment. There is something else you must prepare for. When stolen inheritance is returned, truth often follows. Documents may resurface. Conversations may reopen. Hidden motives may become visible. Do not panic if something from the past comes to light. Exposure is not punishment. It is purification. God is not just returning money. He is restoring honor to your lineage. And here is where your participation matters. This message is not just for you to consume silently. When you publicly agree with a prophetic declaration, you strengthen it in your life. So if this is resonating in your spirit, make it known. Like this video so the algorithm carries this word to others who are waiting for their confirmation. Share it with someone in your family who has felt the weight of generational struggle. Comment your agreement, because spoken agreement seals spiritual contracts. Subscribe to this channel and become part of this growing movement of people who refuse to let their inheritance be stolen in silence. When you engage, you are not supporting a platform. You are amplifying a message of restoration. And something powerful happens when many voices declare justice at once. You are not alone in this shift. Thousands are awakening to the realization that what was lost can be restored, that what was stolen can be returned, that what was delayed can be accelerated. Now lean in closer. There will be a specific sign confirming the shift for you personally. It may seem small to others, but to you it will feel precise. A number, a name, a date, a message. When it appears, do not brush it off. It will be your confirmation that February 24th marked the beginning of visible change. You are stepping into a season your ancestors prayed for but never saw. And what happens next will require courage. Hold on, because what unfolds from here will connect dots you did not even know existed. Chosen one, this is the moment where confirmation becomes activation. You have heard the declaration. You have felt the stirring. But now heaven is asking for your response. On February 24th, when God declared that the $44 million stolen from your ancestors is being returned to your name, it was not symbolic poetry. It was a legal shift in the unseen realm. And Archangel Michael stood as witness because this restoration required authority, protection, and enforcement. There are things that were quietly taken from your lineage. Opportunities disguised as mistakes. Signatures placed under pressure. Agreements made in confusion. Assets moved without transparency. What was meant to establish your family for generations was ruined. And over time, the story faded. People stopped asking questions. Silence replaced investigation. But a heaven never forgets. In the courts of eternity, nothing is erased. Every injustice is recorded. Every stolen portion is documented. And when the appointed time arrives, the case is reopened. February 24th is not just a date. It is a turning point. It is the day the balance shifts. You may feel a strange mixture of anticipation and resistance right now. That is because restoration stretches you. It challenges the identity you built around survival. You learned how to live with less. You became strong through limitation. You mastered endurance. But now you are being invited into expansion. Expansion can feel uncomfortable at first. When generational loss defines a family for decades, lack becomes familiar, even safe. But abundance requires trust. It requires vision. It requires the courage to believe that what was denied to your ancestors can manifest through you. Archangel Michael's presence in this declaration is not casual. He is associated with protection during transition. That means as the return unfolds, there will be divine guarding over your mind, your decisions, and your opportunities. You will not be left exposed. You will not be left vulnerable. The same authority that witnessed the decree is also overseeing its fulfillment. Now listen carefully. The $44 million represents value that accumulated over time. It represents what should have multiplied across generations. That means what is coming back to you carries compounded impact. It is not a simple refund. It is restoration with interest. It is lost time being redeemed. But redemption requires participation. You must begin acting like someone whose inheritance hath been restored. That does not mean arrogance. It means alignment. Start thinking long-term. Start preparing space for increase. Start cleaning out mental clutter that keeps you tied to small expectations. The return cannot settle where doubt dominates. And here is something deeply important. Forgiveness may be required, not because the injustice was acceptable, but because resentment blocks flow. When you release bitterness, you remove the last obstacle standing between you and restoration. Archangel Michael does not enforce vengeance. He enforces justice. Justice restores balance without poisoning the future. If names surface in your memory over the next few days, do not react impulsively. Rave for clarity. Ask for wisdom. Let heaven guide the unfolding. What is meant to be revealed will be revealed without chaos. You are not being called to fight for this return. You are being called to receive it. Right now, if this message feels precise to your spirit, if you sense that February 24th is more than coincidence, then seal this moment. Type "I receive my restoration" in the comments if this is speaking to your spirit. Blessing code 4424 has just been released over your name. As you type it, do it with intention. Words carry alignment. Agreement activates acceleration. And as this revelation continues to spread, understand something powerful. Every time this message reaches another soul trapped under generational loss, another chain weakens, another cycle breaks, another family awakens, which leads to something sacred. This word must travel. When you choose to sow into this mission through super thanks, membership, or even a PayPal offering through the link in the description, you are not funding a channel. You are watering seeds of restoration in countless lives. God says that when you sow beside many waters, you will see a harvest in due season. As you release your support, you become a partner in divine justice, helping light reach those still sitting in silence. I'm moving in obedience, and now I step forward in faith. Let your giving be a prophetic act that declares stolen blessings are returning everywhere this message goes. Those who give in alignment with this restoration will experience open doors and multiplied favor. Step into this moment with boldness. Activate your seed and become part of the harvest today. Something irreversible has begun, and what unfolds next will reveal just how strategic this timing truly is. Faithful one, what is unfolding now is not random movement. It is structured restoration. When February 24th was marked in the Spirit, it was not merely a symbolic declaration floating in the air. It was a recalibration of spiritual accounts. The $44 million that was stolen from your ancestors represents more than currency. It represents position, leverage, stability, and voice. And when those things are removed from a family line, future generations feel the silence of that loss. You may have wondered why your family always seemed close to breakthrough yet never fully established. Why opportunities opened but never stabilized. Why wealth touched your hands but slipped through, It was not because you lacked intelligence. It was not because you lacked effort. There was a missing foundation, something that should have been there to support you but was removed before you arrived. That is what is being restored. Archangel Michael stands as witness not only to the return, but to the rightful transfer of authority. When inheritance is stolen, authority is stolen with it. And authority determines how you move in rooms, how you negotiate, how you decide, how you expand. The return of this wealth is also the return of voice. Pay attention to how you speak after this message. You may notice a firmness entering your tone, a clarity forming in your decisions. You may feel less intimidated by environments that once made you shrink. That is not ego. That is restoration of rightful position. But restoration also exposes cracks. If generational wealth was taken, generational patterns may have formed around survival. Scarcity thinking, distrust, fear of visibility, fear of risk. These patterns cannot enter the next season with you. They were coping mechanisms for a time of loss. But now you are transitioning into a time of correction. This is why preparation matters. Over the next few days, you may feel prompted to organize your finances, review contracts, revisit old conversations, or research opportunities you once abandoned. Do not ignore those impulses. Archangel Michael does not only defend, he directs. He nudges you toward alignment so that when the restoration manifests physically, you are structurally ready to steward it. Understand something deeply. Restoration does not always arrive in one dramatic event. Sometimes it unfolds through strategic connections. Someone may remember your name. A proposal may be reconsidered. A delayed payment may suddenly clear. A legal process may accelerate without explanation. These are not coincidences. They are pieces of a larger correction. And there is another layer. When generational theft occurs, it creates a psychological ceiling, a subtle belief that this is as far as we go. That ceiling has to break internally before it breaks externally. God is not just returning the $44 million value. He is dismantling the invisible ceiling above your expectations. You may feel stretched in your thinking. Dreams you once dismissed as unrealistic may return to your mind. Ideas that seemed too ambitious may now feel possible. This is not fantasy. It is recalibrated vision. Archangel Michael's witness ensures that intimidation cannot halt this shift. There may be whispers around you, doubts from others, even resistance from people who benefited from your family's limitation. But protection surrounds this transition. However, you must move wisely. Do not announce every step prematurely. Some things are still unfolding behind the scenes. Silence is sometimes strategy. Let the results speak when they manifest. Let the evidence become undeniable. And here is something important. If there are documents, records, or conversations connected to your family's past that you have avoided revisiting, this may be the time to approach them with discernment. Not from anger, not from accusation, but from clarity. Restoration often requires information, and information requires courage. You are not being called to chase conflict. You are being positioned to receive confirmation. There will be a moment when you realize something has shifted permanently. It may not look like $44 million in a single account overnight. It may look like doors aligning in a way that feels orchestrated, like timing suddenly working in your favor, like resistance dissolving where it once stood firm. When that moment comes, remember this declaration. February 24th was not hype. It was authorization. And what is authorized by heaven cannot be permanently blocked by earth. Something else is happening beneath the surface. Your family line is being upgraded. The narrative is changing. Where there was once a story of loss, there will now be a story of restoration. Where there was once silence, there will be testimony. And this shift will not end with you. It will ripple forward. The next generation will not carry the same ceiling. They will not inherit the same restrictions. Because you responded when heaven spoke. Stay attentive. The next revelation will show you how this restoration connects to a specific event that is closer than you think. Steadfast air. What is unfolding around you is more calculated than you realize. Since February 24th was marked in the spirit as the day your stolen inheritance was reassigned, movement has been happening behind the veil. The declaration that the $44 million taken from your ancestors is being returned to your name was not emotional language. It was a judicial announcement. And when Archangel Michael stands as witness, it signals that the enforcement phase has begun. Enforcement is different from announcement. Announcement declares what is rightfully yours. Enforcement ensures that what is rightfully yours reaches you without distortion. There were systems, decisions, and silent agreements in the past that routed wealth from your lineage. Some of those actions were deliberate. Some were masked as misunderstandings. But heaven categorized them correctly, and now correction is in motion. You may already sense subtle shifts, a new boldness in your thinking, a refusal to tolerate what you once accepted, a heightened awareness of opportunity. This is not coincidence. When generational limitation lifts, clarity increases, fog dissipates. You begin seeing possibilities where before you only saw barriers. The $44 million represents compounded value. It represents decades of growth that should have accumulated through your bloodline. When that stream was cut off, your family adapted to survival mode. Survival mode teaches resilience, but it also conditions small expectations. It trains you to celebrate stability instead of expansion. But expansion is now being introduced. Archangel Michael's presence in this season is not symbolic decoration. He is associated with divine order, protection, and decisive action. That means as this restoration unfolds, confusion will not dominate your path. You will receive insight at the right moments. You will feel nudges that guide you toward strategic decisions. You will sense when to move and when to wait. Pay attention to your instincts. They are sharpening. Over the next stretch of time, certain opportunities may resurface. Ideas you once considered but abandoned due to lack of resources. Conversations that stalled may reopen. People who once overlooked you may now approach you differently. This is not ego validation. It is repositioning. However, restoration also requires emotional discipline. You may feel waves of realization about what was lost. You may calculate what your family could have built with that $44 million. Businesses, properties, educational advantages, generational security. Allow yourself to acknowledge the weight of that loss, but do not anchor yourself in regret. Regret belongs to the past. Restoration belongs to the present. There is something powerful happening within you. The mindset of scarcity is being replaced with the mindset of stewardship. Scarcity asks, will this be enough? Stewardship asks, how can this multiply? That shift alone changes everything. Because what heaven restores is meant to increase beyond its original value. You are not just receiving what was stolen. You are receiving the wisdom to expand it. And understand this clearly. Restoration rarely arrives as a dramatic windfall without preparation. Often, it comes through layered breakthroughs. One door opens, then another. One approval leads to another. Mankaneti Nalafsanati. Do not dismiss incremental progress. Compounded correction builds momentum. There may also be resistance from unexpected places. When generational ceilings break, not everyone feels comfortable. Some people were accustomed to your limitation. They felt secure while you remained small. You extend, you may challenge their expectations. Remain humble, but do not shrink. Archangel Michael's witness means intimidation cannot legally stop what had been authorized, but intimidation can distract if you allow it. Guard your focus. Protect your peace. Restoration requires clarity. You may also feel prompted to learn new skills, organize your finances more intentionally, or seek counsel in areas you once ignored. Follow those promptings. Preparation attracts provision. When heaven sees responsible stewardship forming, acceleration increases. Here is a specific decision approaching you. It may seem ordinary on the surface. A contract to sign, a partnership to accept, a risk to consider, a relocation to evaluate. That decision will act as a gateway. It will either slow or accelerate the manifestation of this return. Do not rush it. Seek wisdom. Reflect carefully. Listen deeply. Archangel Michael's guarding presence ensures you are not alone in the process, but your cooperation matters. Restoration is a partnership between divine decree and human alignment. And here's the truth that should steady your heart. What was stolen from your ancestors created a vacuum. That vacuum shaped your resilience, your hunger, your persistence. You became strong in places you did not choose. Now that same strength will help you manage what returns. You are not the fragile descendant of loss. You are the prepared heir of restoration. The enemy believed that diverting $44 million would permanently reduce your bloodline's influence. But heaven measures time differently. What seems delayed to humanity is simply scheduled in eternity. February 24th was that schedule coming due. You are not chasing wealth. You are stepping into corrected alignment. And as you move forward, something remarkable will begin to happen. Evidence will surface, subtle at first, undeniable later, that confirms this shift is real. When it does, you will remember this moment and realize that enforcement had already begun long before you saw the proof. The next revelation will uncover how your response in the coming days determines the scale of what manifests in your reality. Anointed One, the atmosphere around you is changing faster than you think. Since the decree on February 24th, the spiritual climate surrounding your name has shifted. What was once delayed is now being expedited. What was once resisted is now being reviewed. The declaration that the $44 million stolen from your ancestors is being returned to you was not an emotional encouragement. It was a signal that a cycle has ended. Cycles do not end quietly. They close with pressure. You may feel intensity rising in your life right now. Elan widening. Decisions surfacing. Conversations becoming more direct. This is not chaos. It is compression before expansion. When a long season of limitation ends, the transition into restoration can feel overwhelming at first. Archangel Michael stands not only as witness but as guardian of this transition. His presence means protection during acceleration, because acceleration without protection can create instability. But this movement is being supervised by divine order. Here is what you must recognize. The return of generational wealth is not only about receiving, it is about repositioning. Your identity is shifting from survivor to builder. Survivors focus on making it through the day. Builders focus on creating something that outlives them. That internal shift is happening right now. You may feel called to think differently about your future. Long-term investments, strategic partnerships, education, ownership instead of dependency. These thoughts are not random. They are indicators that your mindset is being upgraded to match what is coming. But there is also resistance attempting to linger. Old fears may whisper, "Do not get your hopes up." Old disappointments may replay in your mind. You may remember past promises that never materialized. Understand this clearly. Those disappointments were not the final chapter. They were preparation. They built endurance in you. They sharpened your discernment. This time feels different because it is different. The $44 million represents accumulated value that was meant to empower your lineage. When that empowerment was interrupted, your family learned how to function under constraint. But now constraint is dissolving. You may feel unfamiliar space opening in your life. Space where there used to be pressure. Space where there used to be lack. Do not rush to fill that space with fear. Let it expand. Archangel Michael's oversight ensures that sabotage will not override authorization. However, you must remain disciplined. Sudden opportunities may appear. Some will be aligned. Some will be distractions disguised as breakthroughs. Ask for clarity before committing to anything major. Restoration requires wisdom. You may also notice a shift in how others treat you. Subtle respect, increased acknowledgement. Invitations that once bypassed you may now include you. This is part of repositioning. Authority is being restored alongside wealth. And as this word spreads, something powerful happens collectively. When multiple people rise out of generational limitation at the same time, systems begin to shift. Narratives begin to change. Silence breaks. If this message is igniting something inside you, do not keep it to yourself. Like this video so this declaration of restoration reaches others who are still living under stolen inheritance. Share it with someone in your family who has always felt that something was missing from your lineage. Comment your agreement boldly, because spoken faith reinforces alignment. Subscribe to this channel and become part of this movement of people who refuse to let injustice define their future. Join the membership if you feel led, because when you stand in community, strength multiplies. Your engagement is not about popularity. It is about amplifying a word that breaks cycles. And listen closely, because this next phase is critical. There is a decision forming in your near future. It may look small, almost ordinary, but it will serve as a gate. How you respond will determine the pace of manifestation. If you respond from fear, progress slows. If you respond from wisdom and courage, acceleration increases. Do not underestimate ordinary moments. Heaven often hides major shifts inside simple choices. Over the next few days, guard your speech carefully. Words shape expectation. Yesterday in James' experience. Do not casually speak doubt over what has been authorized. If uncertainty arises, bring it into prayer rather than conversation. Not everyone needs access to your process. Archangel Michael's witness means this restoration is legally secure. But security does not eliminate responsibility. You are being entrusted with more than money. You are being entrusted with corrected legacy. And here is something that should anchor your heart. Your ancestors may not have seen justice in their lifetime, but their prayers did not expire. Your hopes did not dissolve. In ways you cannot fully comprehend, their faith laid groundwork for this moment. You are standing at the intersection of their endurance and your opportunity. Before you move ahead, hold this thought tightly, because what unfolds next will reveal why this timing could not have happened a year earlier. You will want to understand the strategy behind the delay. Faithful heir, now you are ready to understand the strategy behind the delay. You have asked silently, if this restoration was destined, why did it take so long? That question is not doubt. It is maturity seeking clarity. And the answer will steady your heart. The $44 million that was stolen from your ancestors did not disappear from heaven's records. It was documented the moment it was diverted. But restoration is not only about returning what was lost. It is about ensuring the receiver is positioned to multiply what returns. If this inheritance had come to your family line decades ago without preparation, it might have been consumed instead of expanded. It might have created comfort without correction. It might have produced wealth without wisdom. But the delay forged resilience in you. It built discernment. It created depth of character that cannot be bought. February 24th was not late, but was precise. Archangel Michael stands as witness not only to the return but to the timing. His presence confirms that divine justice operates on strategic calendars, not emotional impatience. You were being shaped while the case remained open. You were being strengthened while the books of heaven waited for the appointed hour. Now that hour has come. There is something shifting in your internal posture. You are no longer asking for survival. You are preparing for stewardship. You are no longer merely hoping for relief. You are expecting responsibility. That is a profound transformation. But with responsibility comes clarity. The return of generational wealth does not simply elevate your lifestyle. It elevates your influence. Influence requires integrity. As this restoration unfolds, your decisions will carry more weight than before. Small compromises that once seemed insignificant could now produce larger consequences. That is why refinement preceded release. You may notice heightened sensitivity in your conscience, a stronger pull toward honesty, a sharper discomfort around deception. This is alignment. When heaven entrusts increase, it also strengthens accountability. There is another layer you must recognize. The enemy did not only steal finances from your lineage. He attempted to steal identity. Generational theft often plants subtle narratives like, we are not meant for more, where we always struggle, where people like us do not rise. Those narratives settle into family culture over time. But those narratives are dissolving. You are beginning to see yourself differently. Not as the exception in a struggling line, but as the rightful heir of correction. That shift in identity is as significant as the financial return itself. Because identity determines how you carry wealth. Archangel Michael's witness means that intimidation tactics will not legally override this process. Yet intimidation may still attempt to create noise. Old doubts resurfacing. Unexpected criticism from others. Sudden reminders of past failures. These are echoes, not verdicts. Do not confuse echoes with authority. Authority has already spoken. You may also experience unusual favor in unexpected places. Conversations that tilt in your direction. Decisions made that benefit you without you campaigning for them. This is repositioning. When generational correction activates, systems quietly begin adjusting around you. But do not become passive. Restoration requires participation. Continue developing your skills. Continue refining your plans. Continue educating yourself in areas that align with expansion. When opportunity meets preparation, acceleration becomes unstoppable. There is something else unfolding beneath the surface. Your family line is being healed from the inside out. Patterns of secrecy may begin to unravel. Old stories may resurface for closure. Truth may emerge in conversations that were once avoided. This is not to create division. is to create transparency. Healing often precedes visible breakthrough. If tension arises within your family during this season, approach it with calm wisdom. Not every revelation requires confrontation. Some require understanding. Ask for discernment before reacting. Archangel Michael's guarding presence extends over relationships as well. And here is the most powerful truth of this phase. You are not restoring the past to relive it. You are restoring it to redeem it. The $44 million represents lost leverage. But what is coming to you carries more than leverage. It carries legacy potential. You have the opportunity to transform what was once a story of injustice into a testimony of divine correction. The timing also protected you from premature exposure. Had this shift happened earlier, the attention might have overwhelmed you. But now you carry composure. You carry awareness. You carry the maturity to navigate visibility without losing grounding. Something significant is approaching. There will be a moment when tangible evidence confirms this internal shift. It may arrive as a breakthrough that feels too precise to be coincidence. When it happens, you will understand that every delay had purpose. And as this revelation deepens, you are about to discover why a specific connection from your past is re-entering your awareness. That connection holds a key to the visible manifestation of this restoration. Favored one, what is resurfacing in your life right now is not a coincidence. It is a callback from destiny. Since February 24th marked the spiritual authorization of your restoration, subtle movements have begun aligning around you. The declaration that the $44 million stolen from your ancestors is being returned to your name did not remain suspended in the unseen realm. It began weaving itself into your present reality. And one of the first signs of this weaving is reconnection. There is something from your past that refuses to stay buried. A person, a proposal, a location, a dream you once carried but set aside because resources were not available. At the time, it felt like failure. It felt like timing betrayed you. But in truth, it was interruption, not cancellation. Archangel Michael stands as witness over this restoration, and his presence confirms that reconnection is not random nostalgia. It is strategic reopening. When generational wealth is stolen, it does not only remove money, it removes access. It blocks pathways. It closes doors that were meant to remain open for decades. Now those pathways are being reconsidered. You may have recently experienced a memory surfacing with unusual intensity. Not sentimental emotion, but clarity. As if you are seeing the past from a higher vantage point. That is insight being restored. When heaven reopens a file, it also restores understanding about what truly happened. Perhaps there was a business opportunity your family could not sustain. Perhaps land was almost secured but slipped away. Perhaps a partnership dissolved under financial pressure. Those moments were not simply unfortunate events. They were pressure points created by stolen leverage. The $44 million represents leverage that should have stabilized those moments. And now that leverage is spiritually reassigned to you. But listen carefully. Restoration does not mean returning to the exact same circumstances unchanged. It means revisiting them with upgraded authority. You are not the same person who once faced those closed doors. You carry more discernment now, more maturity, more strategic awareness. Archangel Michael's witness means protection surrounds this reopening, but discernment is still required. Not every returning connection is divine alignment. Some return as tests to see if you will repeat old patterns. The difference lies in peace. When something is aligned with your restoration, it will carry calm conviction, not confusion or pressure. If a name hath been on your mind repeatedly, do not dismiss it. If a city, investment, or idea keeps resurfacing with clarity, take it seriously. Pray over it. Research it. Examine it with wisdom. Restoration requires participation. You may also notice that certain people begin treating you differently. Increased respect. Renewed interest. Invitations that once bypassed you now include you. This is repositioning. When generational correction activates, your value becomes more visible. But do not let visibility inflate you. Let it refine you. The return of stolen inheritance is not about ego validation. It is about divine balance. It is about ensuring that what was meant to empower your lineage is no longer withheld. And sometimes that empowerment flows through reconnection with places you thought were permanently closed. There is something profound happening beneath the surface. Your confidence is stabilizing. Not loud arrogance, but quiet certainty. That certainty is a sign that your internal narrative is shifting. You are no longer identifying as someone who almost made it. You are beginning to see yourself as someone who was delayed but not denied. Delayed is not denied. February 24th was not late timing. It was appointed timing. If these reopened pathways feel real to you, seal it now. Type "My pathways are reopened" in the comments if you receive this confirmation. Blessing code 8808 is now activated over your connections, contracts, and conversations. As you type it, do it with awareness. Agreement strengthens manifestation. And as this message continues to reach those who feel that something was taken from their bloodline, remember this truth. Spreading restoration multiplies restoration. When you sow into this mission through super thanks, membership, or a PayPal offering through the link in the description, you are not financing content. You are planting seeds in fields where silence has lasted for generations. God declares that those who sow in righteousness reap a harvest of justice. As you release your support, you align yourself with the flow of correction that is moving through this message. I step forward in faith and partner with this restoration. Let your giving be a prophetic action that says stolen blessings must return. Those who sow into this work will see open doors and multiplied favor rise in their own lives. Activate your seed now and participate in this divine harvest. Something larger is about to become visible. The reconnection you are sensing is only the first layer of manifestation. There is a structural shift forming behind it, and when it surfaces, you will recognize that what was once blocked is now accelerating toward you with unstoppable momentum. Determined air. The speed at which things are aligning now is not accidental. It is the sound of momentum building beneath your feet. Since February 24th was marked as the day your stolen inheritance was spiritually reassigned, invisible systems have been recalibrating around your name. The declaration that the $44 million taken from your ancestors is being returned to you did not remain symbolic. It triggered adjustment. It initiated reorder. It began pulling scattered pieces back into alignment. Momentum is different from anticipation. Anticipation waits for something to happen. Momentum indicates that something is already happening. You may feel it as a subtle urgency within. Not panic, not anxiety, but readiness. A sense that your current position is no longer permanent. And knowing that movement is unfolding even if your eyes have not yet seen the full manifestation. That feeling is confirmation. Archangel Michael stands as witness over this phase of acceleration. His presence signifies that what moves toward you is not reckless expansion but supervised increase. There is structure behind this shift. There is order behind this correction. Understand this clearly. When generational wealth is restored, positioning changes. For years, your family may have operated from limitation, adjusting to reduced leverage. Without leverage, you negotiate from necessity. With leverage, you negotiate from strength. The $44 million represents lost leverage, and leverage alters how life responds to you. You will begin to notice subtle differences in how doors respond. Conversations may carry new respect. Negotiations may tilt in your favor. Delayed responses may suddenly become prompt. These are signs that positioning is recalibrating. But acceleration requires maturity. When momentum builds, the temptation is to move quickly in every direction. Yet not every open door is assignment. Some are distractions testing whether you have discernment. Restoration must be stewarded, not scattered. Take time before major decisions. Evaluate long-term impact over short-term excitement. Ask whether each opportunity builds legacy or merely satisfies impulse. The difference will determine sustainability. There may also be brief moments of pause during this acceleration. A contact delayed, a meeting rescheduled, an approval taking longer than expected. Do not misinterpret pauses as reversals. Sometimes pauses are protective adjustments. They ensure that when manifestation lands, it is secure. Archangel Michael's witness means timing is guarded. If something slows, trust that recalibration is occurring behind the scenes. Another shift is happening internally. Your self-perception is evolving. You are no longer identifying as someone who almost breaks through. You are beginning to see yourself as someone stepping into rightful correction. That internal transformation is critical. Identity shapes behavior, and behavior shapes outcome. Where you once hesitated, you may now feel decisive. Where you once second-guessed, you may now feel clarity. This is not arrogance. It is alignment. February 24th was authorization. Authorization changes of the day. You may also observe subtle financial stabilization. Unexpected relief arriving at precise moments. Expenses resolving without strain. Strategic insight coming through conversations or research. These are early indicators that the larger restoration is moving from decree to evidence. Do not ignore small confirmations. Small confirmations build unshakable confidence. There is something sacred about maintaining humility during momentum. Restoration is not about proving others wrong. It is about fulfilling what was interrupted. As influence increases, remain grounded. Treat others with respect. Remember where you came from, but do not return there mentally. Some individuals may struggle to adjust to your shift. They knew you in seasons of limitation. They may unconsciously expect you to remain there. Do not argue with perception. Let transformation speak through consistency. Here is a defining moment approaching. It will not arrive with dramatic announcement, but with undeniable clarity. A decision you make, an agreement you enter, an opportunity you accept or decline. That moment will mark a crossing point between potential and manifestation. When it happens, you will feel the weight of it. Momentum will no longer feel abstract. You will feel tangible. Until that moment arrives, guard your thoughts carefully. Speak alignment over your life. Do not casually voice doubt over what has already been authorized. Words influence expectation, and expectation influences experience. Continue refining your plans. Continue preparing for increase. Organize your finances. Strengthen your knowledge. Build structures that can support expansion. Cooperation invites acceleration. The $44 million represents more than financial return. It represents regained influence, regained voice, regained stability. It represents a shift from surviving to building. Momentum is not slowing. It is gathering force, and what unfolds next will reveal how your courage in a single pivotal choice determines the scale and speed of the restoration manifesting in your reality. Focused and favored one, this is the threshold moment you have been unknowingly preparing for. Since February 24th marked the authorization of your restoration, everything has been building toward this decision. The declaration that the $44 million stolen from your ancestors is being returned to your name was not simply about transfer. It was about transition. And transition always requires participation. You are now standing before a gateway disguised as an ordinary choice. It may look like a contract placed in front of you, a new role offered unexpectedly, a financial move that feels slightly bigger than your comfort zone, a partnership that carries both promise and responsibility. On the surface, it seems practical, but in the spirit, it is pivotal. Archangel Michael stands as witness over this moment, not to decide for you, but to guard the integrity of the process. His presence means clarity is available, protection is active, interference has limits, but your response still matters. There are two voices attempting to influence you right now. One voice is rooted in past limitation. It reminds you of disappointments, of missed opportunities, of times when hope felt premature. It tells you to minimize risk, to stay small, to avoid visibility. This voice is shaped by generational survival. The other voice is quieter but steadier. It is grounded in the authorization released on February 24th. It reminds you that leverage has been restored, that positioning is shifting, that the $44 million represents regained value, not imagined potential. This voice does not rush you, but it encourages you to expand. The tension you feel is not confusion. It is growth. When a person transitions from surviving to building, decisions feel heavier because they carry more impact. But do not let the weight intimidate you. Let it sharpen you. Evaluate what is in front of you carefully. Ask practical questions. Study the details. Seek wise counsel if necessary. Restoration is not reckless movement. It is informed courage. Once you have clarity, move with conviction. Hesitation after clarity can delay momentum, and momentum is building rapidly now. You must also confront something honestly. Have you grown accustomed to undervaluing yourself? When generational wealth is stolen, families unconsciously adapt to smaller expectations. They accept less. They negotiate down. They hesitate to demand fair terms. The pattern cannot cross this threshold with you. The $44 million is symbolic of value, and value must be honored. If this opportunity in front of you aligns with expansion, do not shrink your request. Do not lower your standard. Do not apologize for stepping into rooms where you belong. Restoration is not arrogance. It is correction. There may be external pressure attempting to rush you or discourage you. Opinions offered with confidence, but rooted in fear. Listen respectfully, but filter everything through discernment. Archangel Michael's witness ensures that intimidation cannot override authorization, but intimidation can create noise if you entertain it. Guard your mind. This is also a moment of public alignment. If this message has strengthened you, clarified your intuition, or confirmed what you were already sensing, then respond outwardly. Like this video so that others standing before their own gateway can receive clarity. Share it with someone wrestling with a major decision shaped by past limitation. Comment your agreement boldly, because spoken affirmation reinforces courage. Subscribe to this channel and join the membership if you desire continued alignment in this journey of restoration. When you engage, you are not boosting a platform. You are amplifying a message that breaks generational ceilings and restores leverage to entire bloodlines. Now return your focus to the decision itself. Ask yourself a powerful question. Does this choice align with who I am becoming, or who I used to be? The difference will reveal the correct direction. Decisions made from old identity sustain old patterns. Decisions made from restored identity unlock new territory. There is also timing involved. Do not procrastinate once clarity arrives. Delay can drain momentum. But do not act impulsively either. Find the balance between reflection and resolve. When you step through this gateway, something will shift almost immediately. You may notice accelerated responses, rapid confirmations, unexpected support appearing. These are signs that your movement activated aligned systems. If you retreat out of fear, the door may not close permanently, but the timeline may extend. That is why this moment carries weight. You are being trusted with agency. February 24th authorized restoration. Now your courage will determine acceleration. And what unfolds after you choose will reveal just how quickly heaven can move when alignment and action meet at the same point in time. Enduring and appointed one, what is forming around you now is not temporary favor. It is structural establishment. Since February 24th marked the authorization of your restoration, invisible adjustments have been translating into visible evidence. The declaration that the $44 million stolen from your ancestors is being returned to your name was never meant to remain a spiritual headline. It was a legal shift in the unseen realm designed to manifest in measurable ways. And now, the manifestation phase is unfolding with precision. You may already sense the atmosphere around you changing. Conversations carry a different tone. Delays that once frustrated you are resolving with unusual smoothness. People who overlooked your value are beginning to recognize it without persuasion. This is positioning being recalibrated. When leverage is restored, perception changes naturally. Archangel Michael stands as witness over this stage to ensure that what materializes is anchored and defended. Restoration without protection can be fragile. But this correction is guarded. It is supervised. It is stabilized as it integrates into your life. Pay attention to the pattern emerging. One improvement triggers another. A financial relief creates breathing room. That breathing room allows strategic thinking. Strategic thinking produces a bold but wise move. That move opens an additional door. You may notice a domino effect unfolding, each piece reinforcing the next. This cascading alignment is not random fortune. It is the release of accumulated leverage that was once withheld. The $44 million represents compounded opportunity. It symbolizes decades of growth that should have strengthened your lineage. When that stream was diverted, your family adapted to constraint. Constraint shaped resilience, but it also shaped limitation. Now limitation is dissolving, and resilience is being paired with resource. You may feel an internal shift in how you see yourself. Where you once questioned your worth in high-level environments, you now feel composed. Where you once minimized your expectations, you now articulate them clearly. This is corrected authority emerging. Authority does not shout. It stands calmly in its rightful place. However, remain vigilant against subtle pride. Pride often disguises itself as self-protection after long seasons of struggle. Remember that this elevation is not self-created. It is divinely corrected. Humility keeps restoration sustainable. There may also be moments of emotional realization. You might reflect on how much was delayed, on opportunities your ancestors nearly touched but could not secure. You may feel both gratitude and sorrow at once. Allow that processing to occur privately. Restoration redeems the narrative without denying the pain that preceded it. As influence expands, responsibility deepens. Archangel Michael's witness signals that integrity must anchor every decision moving forward. The restoration of wealth is also the restoration of accountability. You may notice heightened sensitivity toward ethical clarity. Situations that once seemed minor now feel significant. That sensitivity is not anxiety. It is alignment sharpening your discernment. Relationships may shift in this season. Some individuals will celebrate your elevation sincerely. Others may grow distant without explanation. A few may reappear with new interest. Discernment is essential. Not every returning connection is aligned with your long-term stability. Restoration rearranges circles according to capacity and calling. Do not chase approval. Let consistency validate transformation. There will soon be undeniable evidence that the shift is permanent. It may come as a finalized agreement that once seemed impossible. A resource secured after years of delay. A debt resolved in a way that feels orchestrated. When it arrives, pause intentionally. Speak gratitude over it. Gratitude anchors increase and strengthens what has been established. At the same time, resist impulsive expansion. A man of good creative excitement in tempo over sit-in. Build strong systems. Seek wise financial and legal counsel. Document carefully. Organize thoroughly. The purpose of restoration is not rapid display but durable foundation. You are no longer operating under inherited scarcity. You are operating under corrected positioning. This means your decisions carry generational consequence. The structures you build now can either secure or weaken the future. Think beyond immediate comfort. Think infrastructure. Think protection. Think legacy planning that ensures what was once stolen cannot be quietly diverted again. You may find yourself reflecting on your journey. From feeling blocked, overlooked, and confined to sensing clarity, authority, and opportunity. Those reflections are markers of transition. They confirm that February 24th was not symbolic enthusiasm. It was scheduled correction. And now manifestation is becoming steady, not speculative. One final layer remains before this season seals completely. A decisive confirmation. It may appear as public validation, external recognition, or a breakthrough that shifts perception beyond your private awareness. When it arrives, you will sense finality. Not anxiety but assurance. A deep knowing that the cycle of loss has closed and the cycle of stewardship has begun. Prepare emotionally for that sealing, because once it settles, your foundation will feel different. Secure. Defended. Established. And when the final revelation unfolds, you will understand exactly how to guard this restoration so that what was returned remains multiplied and protected for generations to come. Chosen heir of restoration, this is the sealing moment. Everything that began on February 24th has led to this culmination. The declaration that the $44 million stolen from your ancestors is being returned to your name was not just about recovery. It was about closure and commencement at the same time. Closure of a cycle of theft. Commencement of a cycle of stewardship. You have felt the momentum build. You have seen subtle confirmations. You have navigated decisions with discernment. You have sensed Archangel Michael's guarding presence as transition unfolded. Now you stand at the threshold of permanence. Sealing is different from starting. Starting initiates movement. Sealing establishes permanence. When something is sealed in the spirit, it becomes guarded territory. It is no longer easily diverted. It is no longer vulnerable to silent manipulation. It carries divine protection around its structure. This is what is happening to your inheritance. The 44 million represents restored leverage, restored influence, restored access. But sealing ensures that what returns does not leak through old patterns. It requires one final internal alignment from you. You must renounce the mindset of limitation completely, not partially, not cautiously, completely. There can be no secret agreement with scarcity lingering in your thoughts. No hidden belief that says, this will not last. No quiet expectation of reversal. What you expect, you subconsciously prepare for. And what you prepare for, you often experience. Expect permanence. Archangel Michael stands as witness not only to the return but to the protection of what hath been restored. His presence signifies that interference has lost legal ground. But you must cooperate with wisdom. Protect your assets. Structure your growth. Surround yourself with counsel that understands longevity. There may be a visible confirmation that arrives suddenly. A financial breakthrough finalized. A public acknowledgement secured. A legal matter resolved in your favor. When it happens, do not rush past it as if it were ordinary. Recognize it as evidence of sealing. Speak gratitude over it. Declare stewardship over it. And commit to guarding it. The generational cycle of loss ends with you. But the generational cycle of building begins with you as well. That is the weight and the privilege of this moment. There will still be challenges in life. Restoration does not remove humanity. But you will face challenges from a different position now. Not from scarcity, but from stability. Not from fear, but from authority. February 24th will become a date you remember. The day correction began. The day your name was spoken in divine court. The day Archangel Michael stood as witness over your restored inheritance. And I'll seal it with agreement. Type IT is sealed and protected in the comments if you receive this final confirmation. Blessing code 1212 is now activated over your restored legacy. As you declare it, understand that you are not just typing words. You are aligning with permanence. And now hear this final call. What hath been released through this message is not meant to stop with you. Restoration spreads when revelation spreads. If this word has confirmed your season, strengthened your faith, and positioned you for correction, then act prophetically. When you sow through super thanks, step into membership, or release a seed through the PayPal link in the description, you are not supporting a channel. You are advancing justice for bloodlines that still believe their loss is permanent. The Lord declares that when you cast your seed upon the waters, it returns multiplied in due time. As you give, you declare that stolen blessings must be restored across nations. I respond in obedience and become a partner in this harvest of correction. Those who sow into this mission will see protection over their resources and increase over their influence. Step forward now and activate your seed as a prophetic act of sealing. This is not the end. It is establishment. What was stolen hath been reassigned. What was delayed hath been authorized. What was hidden hath been exposed. And what has been restored is now sealed in your name.